Hey guys, this is Vanessa Joy at Vanessa Joy on Instagram, and I'm in the Adorama store, and I'm going to show you a little trick. Change of plans today, but I'm going to show you a little trick that I demonstrated at Imaging USA with this Profoto. And we've got our beautiful bride Casey here. I don't even want to tell you what it is. I just want to, I guess I'll see it on the thumbnail later. All right, so we've got Casey for us. And we've got a beautiful Kleinfeld's dress. This is a Haley Page dress that Kleinfeld's let us borrow. And we're just going to show you how I do a typical bridal portrait. Normally I am shooting in natural light, but the light in this space is not so natural. It's actually kind of heinous, but we can control it and using a Profoto B1 to do it. So any time that I am using off-camera flash, I set my exposure to how I want the photograph to look. So for this one, I want to take a bridal portrait, really soft, accentuate the veil. So I'm going all the way down to 1.6. My shutter speed is at 200 and my aperture, oh no, not my aperture, my ISO is actually at L, which is the equivalent of 50 here on my Canon 1DX Mark II. Using the 50mm 1.2 lens, just so I can go nice and low. This is one of my most used lenses and I use it for this portrait all the time. So let's go ahead into this. So to do this one, I always tell, this is always the beginning of the day, so it's kind of not the most comfortable time for the bride because she hasn't seen her groom yet and she's still nervous. So I always tell her, hey, this is just me and you, and we get to like have our moment under the veil together. We are going to bring this a little bit closer first and then turn it horizontally so it wraps around her face. All right, let's just go ahead and take a shot like this. You're going to turn that way, kind of chin down a little bit. And let me just take a shot before I do too much, just so we can see what it looks like. So again, I'm still at TTL, so I'm letting Profoto do the work for me. And it's a little bit bright. Actually, not awful, not too bad. So I'm just going to go ahead. See, actually, it's pretty good. The A1 fired. Got a little peanut gallery back here. I'll turn that off, but it's not so bad still. I'm going to go ahead and go from TTL over to manual and just lock in that power setting. So let's take another photo, see what it looks like without the A1 firing. There we go. A little bit of a difference. Actually, I kind of liked it with the A1. Made everything white and pretty. All right, but let's try this. Now we're going to come in this way. And you're going to turn your knees all the way that way. And the reason I do that is I want to make sure that my bride has light coming across the dress because it's going to show off all that detail. This is a gorgeous $4,000 Haley Page dress, and the last thing I want to do is blow out all the detail. I want to accentuate the detail, and the light coming across like that is really going to help do that. All right, so let's get under the veil together. That works good, yeah. All right, so go ahead and turn your head towards the light, towards the shoulder. And I don't know what this is going to look like with the light going through the veil, but we'll find out. Chin down a little bit, yeah. Actually, I like how you kind of did that. You like moved your, yeah, that's perfect. Take your hand and turn it this way a little bit more. Gorgeous. And then, yep, and then bring your wrist in, yeah. That looks really pretty. At least it doesn't, if you find, let's see what it looks like. Oh, it does look pretty. So I love that. What I'm gonna have you do, take that hand and just bring it back. So right now her hand is really in the forefront and I want it to be a little bit more subtle. So yeah, bring it back, even bring your shoulder back a little bit more. There you go. That way it's not quite so prominent, and turn your wrist a little bit this way. I always wanna show the side of her hand, not the palm, not the back, always the side. That looks great. And then go ahead and lower your chin a little. Yep, and just look at me like you just did. Lovely. That looks good. So that's really pretty. Let me get one where the hand's not in it so it's not super distracting. And then eyes down. So that is a really pretty, just bridal portrait of her. Love that. So now we're going to add something fun. I fondly like to call it flashing myself. My friend Seth, who's sitting in the corner over here, taught me how to do this. Gotta give credit. So all we're doing is we're turning this A1 on and I'm pointing it at the lens. So Right now I'm at 1.6. This is going to make a difference in a little bit, but I just want to do one photo like this at 1.6, and somehow I'm going to hold the veil and a camera and a flash. I think we can make this happen. All right, a little bit too bright, so you can show them that. I always like showing the error because there's no point in me showing you things and it's just perfect every single time. All right, so I'm going to lower my power. Let's lower it to 4. It was at 9. And see if this works. There we go. All right. So do you see a little bit of it there? Yeah, it's just a little bit of a haze that you're getting. There, you can see there. This part right here, and it's not in the best part, but you can see that. That's like the flare. All right. So it gives a little bit of a haze, which is nice, but I want to give it bokeh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my aperture and bring it up to, instead of 1.6, we're going all the way up to 16. My shutter speed is actually at 200. I don't know, I accidentally touched it before, so ignore that. These are my actual settings. There we go. Shutter speed 200, f16, and I'm still at L. Now if I do that, I have to raise my power here. Instead of kind of guessing and I don't have a light meter with me, I'm just going to go back to TTL, take a picture, make sure that light is good, make sure it's exposing her nicely, and that works. And now we're going to do the same thing, but because I raised that, I'm going to need to raise this. So I'm going to go, let's just go to 9. And now we're going to see what happens. You ever feel like you're playing the game Parachute?
Yeah, like cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse? I don't know that one.
It's the same. It's like you have the big parachute and one person's a cat and one person's a mouse.
That's cute. I was homeschooled. I didn't have a good, well-rounded childhood. Okay, perfect. All right. Now I flash myself. No, I don't think I got it in my lens. Sometimes you have to do this a couple of times, actually. So I'm just going to fire off a bunch of shots. And I'm moving the light around the lens. And actually, let's do it this way, too. And we can see which one's going to work. Well, go ahead and lower your head and turn it more towards the light. There you go. You know what, can you push the veil out again? Chin down a whole bunch. So with each shot, I just kept moving the light and the angle that it hit it. So did we get one in there? Yeah, so you can see this right here. Little bits of bokeh. Little bits right there. Little bits down there. So it just adds a little something extra. Little bit right there. It's kind of like rainbow, which is fun. All right, I want to do one more thing. Let's make it a little bit darker. I'm going to go to, let's just go to, oh, I can only go as high as f16 on here, so I'm just going to lower this a little bit because it's just a little bit too bright. So go to 9, and then I'm going to raise this up to 10 and see if I can get just a little bit more. I want to see more. Or you know what would be good? I have my 24. I'm going to grab my 24. Just show Casey. She's looking pretty. Covered in veil. All right, so going to the 24 is going to let me bump up my aperture. I'm going to go all the way to 20. And I think that might help. We'll find out. This also is going to be really different. There we go. And look down. There we go. Now we're seeing a little bit more. Let's try a couple more. Perfect. All right, so see how going all the way from f16 to f22 made a difference. You can see all the little bokehs here. Bouquets, whatever you want to call them. This, it flared because that's where I hit it. More bokeh right there. So just a really interesting little trick. And it's a lot of trial and error, so excuse me if I'm sweating a little bit while I'm like, oh my gosh, am I pointing it correctly? Because you really have to do that. You have to just play around with it, because every time, really what you're doing is you're messing with the way that the light bounces around this lens. So every little tiny movement and how you point it towards the lens is going to change how it looks. So give it a try, mess around with it, and if you want, actually, let me do one more. If you want, you can put colors on it too. One more. Just look kind of that way. I'm just going to use this. Not the, okay, we have to use the veil. It does make it look so much better. There we go. Woo. So you can add color to it. Probably not the most flattering lens to use on a bride, but Casey pulls it off so nicely. So now you got all green bokeh. So mess around with it. Play with it. Actually, I like that one the best. Yeah, just kind of fun. All right, so play around with it. Hashtag go flash yourself. I'm Vanessa Joy here at Adorama, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much.